Well, what is happening, Indiana Jones fans, movie fans alike? Welcome back to the channel. I am Diao, and this is another edition of my life. And today we are back continuing to talk about all the Indiana Jones films leading up to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny coming out at the end of this month. We're already in June. So, we already talked about the previous 3 Indiana Jones films, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. If you guys haven't seen streams for any of those, check out my channel. It has a playlist of all the streams. It's the most recent ones other than Across the Spider-Verse. If you guys haven't seen our stream for Across the Spider-Verse, check that out as well. Really
Unless you haven't seen the movie.
Oh yeah. If you've seen the movie and you don't want to know anything about the Spider-Verse, go watch it and then check that out. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to see our reviews for the previous 3 Indiana Jones films, check them out. But today, this is the last stop until Dial of Destiny. Today, we'll be talking about the not controversial film at all. This is not a controversial film whatsoever.
It's not?
Not at all. Today, we'll be talking about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And joining with me today, once again, I have fellow YouTuber, Friendly Neighborhood Meta.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is your Friendly Neighborhood Meta here. And who's ready to talk about them fridging Indy?
Oh, yeah. Fridging Indy?
Fridge Festival.
Oh. I didn't put 2 and 2 together for some reason. Okay, yeah, we'll get to that. And also joining with us, we have fellow YouTuber Ruby Groovy.
Yo, what's good, guys? How's it going? Hope you guys are having a lovely Monday.
Yes. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let us talk about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And as always, we must remind the viewers out there, this is a spoiler-filled discussion. We're talking about this movie as if you've already seen it, though it's 15 years old. So if you haven't seen Crystal Skull, I guess you ain't going to see it. But anyway, check it out on Paramount Plus and or Disney Plus. If you haven't seen it already, then come back and listen to this. So you have been warned. So, who thought they were going to make another Indiana Jones film after The Last Crusade? We all assumed that The Last Crusade was the last movie, you know? Last Crusade, last outing for Indiana Jones. At the time, we thought The Last Crusade was the perfect way to send off the character. You know, we had Sean Connery coming in playing Indy's dad, Henry Jones Sr. I'm sorry.
It was
So yeah, I thought it was great. Yes, Senior. But yeah, like that ended up being my favorite Indiana Jones film. But
It became
yeah,
mine.
I thought it became yours. Yes, which is great. So yeah, nobody expected them to make a fourth one. I remember like when they first announced it. I think I saw like the first trailer for it, and man, I was shocked really when I was younger. When I saw that first trailer, I was like, really? They're making another one? I'm like, but isn't Harrison a little, isn't he up there in age?
Is he a little wrinkly?
A little bit, like he's in his 60s, isn't he? Like, why is he making another one? But I mean, hey, it's Indiana Jones, right? I'll go see it regardless. And also seeing that Shia LaBeouf was going to be in here as well, I was excited for it. Shia LaBeouf, you know.
No. Shia LaBeouf. I purposely fucked up his name.
Whatever.
Shia LaBeouf.
Everyone just, butchers his name. Shia LaBeouf, Shia LaBeouf. I've heard it all. I was a really big Shia LaBeouf fan when I was younger. I really liked him in Even Stevens, Holes, what was that? Oh, The Greatest Game Ever Played, that golf movie. I really liked him in that.
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. And of course,
Transformers.
I did enjoy him in those. And there's other stuff like Eagle Eye. He was like in a lot of stuff back in the day. But yeah, I was a big Shia LaBeouf fan, so I was excited to see him in this movie as well. I know he's nowadays he's very controversial with stuff going on, which I totally understand. It does seem like he's not fully there in the head anymore, but like regardless, I am a fan of him as an actor. Even like post Transformers, he was still doing some good performances. Like he was really good in Fury and Peanut Butter Falcon with Dakota Johnson. I thought that he was really good and stuff like that. So regardless of that, I was a big fan of Shia LaBeouf. I was excited to see him in this movie. But from the trailers, it did look really cool. It looked like it was going to be the most action-packed of the Indiana Jones films. It looked like, even though Harrison was older, it didn't look like he was missing a beat. But yeah, regardless of that, like, I was looking forward to it as a kid. I was, me and my dad, we were looking forward to seeing it. We saw it opening weekend. And I remember the first time I saw this in the theater, I loved it. I had an absolute blast with it. At the time, this is crazy to say now, but like at the time, I was thinking, could that possibly be my favorite Indiana Jones film? People laugh at that now, like I get that, but at the time, like I was really hyped for it. However, the more I watched it, and getting older and starting to process stuff in movies, I did feel like, yeah, it was a little bit too much hype with it. There were some things about it that I had an issue with. But what I did not expect was how other people were reacting to this movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, though, it actually does have a decent rating. It's like in the 70s. But the audience score is a different story. I think it was in the 40s or 50s.
Yes, you are correct.
Yes. And like whenever I hear like critics talk about this film, they hate this movie. Like they thought it was the worst Indiana Jones film. Like they were just listing off all these problems from the CGI to Shia LaBeouf to.
But Temple of Doom is fine.
That's one of the things that blew my mind because like people praise Temple of Doom or either that, or it's like they don't have a problem with Temple of Doom as much as this film. Like people, even like how Star Wars fans are with the sequel trilogy, like they sometimes there was even some people that consider Crystal Skull non-canon. Like that's how upset people were with this film.
But unlike the sequel trilogy, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it makes sense. Sort of,
yeah. So it's like it really shocked me, like how much people hated this film. And if you guys have seen our previous stream, we talked about Temple of Doom. You guys know that's my least favorite Indiana Jones film, and
I think we universally agreed it's the weakest of the series.
Yeah,
So-
even though
so
that seems to be a
far.
hot take for people. That seems to be a hot take because
Honestly, nostalgia is a hell of a thing. It blinds the best of us. Even we are not immune to nostalgia's grasp. However,
Yeah.
please go and watch DL's amazing clip of our Temple of Doom review if you really want to know how bad Temple of Doom is. The physics alone make the jankiest game look stable.
Mhm.
honestly, yes. But but yeah, man, like rewatching it again. It's been a while since I watched Crystal Skull. But like rewatching this again, I still don't understand what all the bitching is about. I enjoyed this film. I like it. I think it's a good movie. Do I think it's a great film? No. Is it
It's
my
okay.
Yeah, is it my favorite? No. But I really don't see anything in here that makes people so visceral towards this movie. Like I really don't.
Honestly, if the actual trilogy was Raiders, Crusade, and Crystal Skull, I would be fine with that.
Honestly, yeah, I've said it before. Like it feels like those three movies feel like more of a natural beginning, middle, and end than Temple of Doom is. Like
And Temple of Doom is a prequel, but we're not even like saying we're saying it basically just didn't happen. That was an idea for a second movie. They scrapped it. They waited longer, and then in this universe, Crusade became the second movie.
yeah, like and like structure wise and like tonal wise, like Crystal Skull feels more consistent with Raiders and Last Crusade than Temple of Doom does, And it's just like I know there's like some decisions that they made in this movie that really feel out there for an Indiana Jones film, but like it's just hard for me to believe that like this is a breaking point for people when there's so many weird stuff they put in not only Temple of Doom. I'll even put Raiders in Last Crusade. There's some weird stuff they put in that movie too. So it's weird to me that they look at this film and be like, this is too much. This is too crazy. This is too out there, But like as I said, like I don't think this movie's great. There's definitely some stuff in here that did bother me. And there's certain things in here where I do understand why it turned off a lot of people. But like for people to say that this movie's awful, like I just don't see it. I even heard the argument that like there are people that say that it's like this is as if this was a solid adventure movie on its own. I think people say like it'll be a solid movie, but the fact that it's an Indiana Jones film, people say that it's not good as an Indiana Jones movie, which I'm like,
wait,
what?
people are just people. That is literally my take on The Last Jedi, just reworded for Indiana Jones.
Right, so it's like, is this a good movie? Yeah, sure.
Good God,
Is this-
history does
Is this a
repeat
good
itself,
Indiana
doesn't
Jones
it?
film? No. Yeah. It's like I heard that similar thing with Last Jedi too. That people said if this was if it was a standalone science fiction film that it wasn't Star Wars, that people would enjoy
I
it more.
probably think it's all right. I probably would like it.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, but like, as far as Indiana Jones, I don't agree with that. I really don't. There's still like those trademark indie moments. You still feel Spielberg's touched with this franchise, like So it's just like I don't get it, man. I liked it. I'm sorry. This is not a popular opinion, so I'm sorry. That's how I feel. But that's my thoughts. Let's go to you, Meta. What is your overall thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
I haven't seen this movie since it came out in 2008. And mind you, I was 12 years old. And this was the first Indiana Jones film I watched with my parents. I'll be honest, it being the first, not a good first impression. This rewatch and first time watching / rewatch of the indie films definitely has put things into perspective. And I think as we've reached the fifth, God, this film's almost 15 years old.
Yep.
But Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is okay. It's a fun movie. It feels like an Indiana Jones movie. It has all the things that people. I have said this though. I think Raiders and Crusade are still better, and I think part of that, we can talk about this more as we go through the review.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it being the Crystal Skull being the object of desire this time around, definitely better than the rocks, because literally Play-Doh would be better than the rocks.
Yeah.
But it being an otherworldly item that it feels like it's kind of like a meme, because this was how History Channel was around the early to mid 2000s. They went from being about actual historical pieces to just aliens. And not saying that the pyramids are built by aliens, but aliens.
Interdimensional beings.
But that's what the History Channel was like around that time. And so it just, what I'm saying is that if it's an earthly possession like the Ark or the Holy Grail, which does have some mythology surrounding it and legend surrounding it, it feels more real. It feels more grounded in a sense. And we're talking about a series that it is for the most part grounded, but the artifacts they're going after are just absolutely ridiculous. But this time around, we're dealing with aliens, and that sense of groundedness slowly dissipates from the film as we get closer and closer to them getting to the UFO. And my enjoyment was still there. It's just that I was like, a little bit of immersion I feel like was broken, because again, it's aliens. We're going into sci-fi land now.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought the movie was great. Previous ones I actually thought Shia LaBeouf. I remembered Shia LaBeouf being awful, but going back and rewatching it with a fresh pair of eyes and a more mature stance and mindset, I understand now what his role was. And honestly, I don't think he was terrible. This was still when Shia LaBeouf was kind of good on camera. This was right after Transformers. I believe 1 year after Transformers, right? DL,
a year after the first one came out.
Yeah, a year after the first one. So his star was just rising. And again, this is one of his better performances, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, all in all, it's good. I don't get the hate. Yeah, I don't get the hate.
Right. All right, Ruby, let's go to you. What are your overall thoughts on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Yeah, I kind of have a same backstory with this was kind of the film that kind of introduced me to the Indiana Jones franchise, and watching it as a kid, I guess I was kind of immersed into the world of Indiana Jones, because I guess it was just because it was my first time seeing it, it kind of should hold a bit of a soft spot for me. But I mean, at the same time, after rewatching it today, it's definitely not the worst we've seen from Indiana Jones. It's definitely not the worst. Obviously Raiders and Last Crusade are better, but it's nowhere near Temple of Doom bad. I remember hearing some people talking about this film saying, it doesn't feel like Indiana Jones because, it doesn't feel as practical. It doesn't feel like, the practical stunt work and the set pieces are as immersive as the original 3 films, which they are correct. They don't feel as immersive, but that doesn't kill the vibe for the Indiana Jones franchise. Sure, that may have been a defining trait for the franchise, but that doesn't mean that they're always going to do that in every single movie. As much as we want them to do that in every movie, it's that's just the way that it is. Sometimes they want to take things in new directions, like how in this film they wanted to step away from, you know, the Nazi era and go more sci-fi with the aliens, and, you know, it may have worked for some people, or I guess more specifically, if you're a fan of George Lucas, because, you know, you could definitely tell after watching this film that there was a lot of George Lucas written all around it.
This was only 3 years after the Revenge of the Sith, so the prequel trilogy had just ended.
Right.
Yep.
So he was still, George Lucas was still kind of in that, like, he was still kind of fresh in that mindset of, you know, he was still kind of lost in that galaxy far, far away. And it also doesn't help that this film also came out in the same year as the Clone Wars movie, which I don't know if he did he work on the story for that movie? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he did. Him and Filoni. This is when both him and Filoni like were, you know, in it, you know, arms locked.
Yeah, and they were kind of like, I guess you could kind of tell that they were butting heads in that situation, and that's kind of what maybe hurt the mentality here.
And the master.
Yeah, it was his idea to turn that into a movie. I think Filoni wanted to just keep it as a show because they were going to release the show anyway, but George said these set of stories is good enough to be a theatrical release.
It wasn't.
No, it was not.
And never was. But yeah, so again, like I said, you can tell that this was a big, like, you could see like George Lucas just written in this film. So it kind of like, you could definitely feel Spielberg's wit and like his vibe in terms of like the direction and whatnot, and us going on all these like adventures and whatnot. But this is the most George Lucas felt Indiana Jones film that we've gotten, which is definitely not a bad thing, because, you know, they were friends back in the day. But I mean, you know, we can only it only works like it can only go so far, you know, like friendships like that can only take you so far as to making really really good stories, I guess. Which I guess comes to my point where, like, this isn't the best story, but it's definitely not the worst story, which is kind of what's weird about it. It kind of feels like it's like that middle of the road kind of film. So I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's not unwatchable. I liked the characters in this film. I guess Mutt Williams did kind of feel weird, but he wasn't my least favorite. I'm sure we'll get into all the other characters later, but yeah, Mutt Williams is definitely not my least favorite in this film.
Like, how dare people compare Mutt to Willie? Like, it's not even close to how bad.
I don't know what y'all are having, but I don't want it.
Never let bro cook again.
Yeah, this is Mutt is like C tier compared to Willie. Like the
Willie, I think
long
we all
forgotten,
agree,
like off into the abyss tier.
I think we all agree we wanted to throw Willie off of the physics-defying waterfalls without the raft.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
yeah, overall, it's fine. It's not great. It's yeah. There's really nothing. It's fine. It's not unwatchable. You know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. To go back to your point about George Lucas having more involvement with the story this time around, I definitely felt that. I've said this many times that I think George Lucas is a great idea man. He can come up with some of the most interesting concepts for a film or a TV show, but his execution is a fucking mess.
It's not just his execution, it's just the idea of like putting all of his ideas together. It just feels weird.
It does feel weird. I heard when making this film that Spielberg and I think a couple of other writers had an idea for what originally they wanted to do for the fourth film, and everybody was in agreement of it. They liked it, except George Lucas. So
of course, George Lucas.
Yeah, so like George Lucas, like, I don't know about
Oh,
that.
yeah, well, you know, I just really wanted to encapsulate the feel of what it feels like to be eaten alive by ants.
Yeah, no. It's like
George?
poetry. It's like poetry, so that the films rhyme. You know.
What's rhyming about
I'm
Indiana
sorry.
Jones?
No. I'm sorry. I do like that quote. I'm sorry. I love that. But
I like that quote too, but like, how does that apply to Indiana Jones?
Yeah, how does
the
that apply to
rhyming-
the Indiana Jones films when they don't
because
have
2
like
and
one
4
cohesive
because 2 and-
story?
Because 2 and 4 are the ones that people are mixed on. 1 and 3 are fine, but 2 and 4 are not.
Oh wow, okay, so they want to rhyme in that way. You're gonna make 2 great ones and 2 mediocre ones.
By that logic,
So we're gambling on Dial of Destiny to actually be like a massive powerhouse Indiana Jones film.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll
Good-
see.
Yeah, good luck with that. We're looking at 50% on Rotten Tomatoes for that film.
That's the critics, though.
I'm just saying.
Well, also keep in mind that even though most people say that they disliked Crystal Skull, it's still holding a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Certified fresh too. That's not just fresh. That's certified.
That's certified fresh. Crystal Skull is certified fresh, but most people I hear hate this movie. So it's really weird.
It's also 1% higher than Temple of Doom.
Oh, see?
So even the critics agree with us.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. So where to begin with this? I guess we could start with the man himself, Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. I really liked him in this. You know, I don't think he was bad at all. He still feels as great as he was as in the previous 3 movies, performance-wise. And I feel as far as his age, he's right at the cusp of me suspending my disbelief that he's able to do the stuff that he's doing at his age. Like, he's right at the crisp of it. And
The
like
cusp, you mean? But I
the
get you.
cusp. Thank you. The cusp. Why I say crisp? Cookie crisp. Anyway, but like, and like the stuff he's doing in this movie, like I don't think it's as outlandish as the stuff he does in the previous films. So it's like they pulled back on his set pieces a little bit, and they gave more of his stuff to like Shia LaBeouf and Kate Blanchett to do more of the heavy lifting of all the other crazy set pieces. But like this, when he was in action, though, I feel like it was believable enough. So that's fine. And I kind of like this time around that we got a more seasoned, more experienced Indiana Jones, and I kind of like the grumpier Indy in this. Like, it was.
Well, that's just Harrison Ford playing Harrison Ford.
I was gonna say, whenever he's grumpy grandpa, that's just Harrison Ford. That's not just Indiana Jones. We saw that in Han Solo as well.
That's true. But it's like, in a way, it does. I do think it kind of fits for like his character as well. Seeing a more grizzled, more experienced Indiana Jones. Like, we haven't really seen that before. Seeing that like he's a little bit more experienced, that he pretty much knows how stuff will go at this point. Except for some reason, he still gets betrayed by people and he doesn't realize it. Like,
Oh my God, when we get to that, that was ridiculous. That is one of the more ridiculous aspects of this story.
Yeah. But as far as Harrison, he ended up working a lot better than I thought he was going to. What do you guys think overall? How did you feel about him in this movie?
He definitely. I don't like using the term that he definitely felt different from his original 3 appearances.
He got older
because he got older. He's not so much of a ladies' man in this film where he usually is in the previous films, but that doesn't like take anything away from his character. It's just he's evolved now. He's becoming much of a, I guess mature is kind of the way to go about things, but at the same time he can't really tell when he's gonna get backstabbed. So I don't know, like I guess when you get better at things you get worse at things too. I don't know.
What about you, Meta?
It's Harrison Ford doing what Harrison Ford does, embody a character. He is Indiana Jones, and I think it speaks testaments to the fact that even in this most recent one, he always wants Indy to feel different. In every film, he wants Indy to be a different person than the last time we saw him. That's why, like for this new one I saw, They wanted like some people were doing something to him while he was on the horse, and he told him to back the fuck off because he wants to look old. Like he wants Indy to be like, yes, I am old. This is my last run. Let me show them this is my last run by not doing the shit I'm used to doing.
I hope that's something that's apparent in Dial of Destiny, because look, I was like right at the like I said, suspending my disbelief enough in this film, but like
that's the one. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So
yeah, for that new one, he said, I do not want to do all these crazy stunts because I am old. Like let's show that Indy is an old man now. Like
good.
But in this one though, this was yeah, like you said, it was the right time. If they were going to do a fourth film, that was probably the right time to do it because it was right before Harrison went downhill. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in terms of age and being able to actually play the part to a more athletic ability. And yeah, I also love that where his character's headspace is at this time. You know, it's the 50s. The World War II is over. Finding out that Indy was actually drafted and was a part of OSS, that was really cool to learn. Finding out that he even tells the person from the university after that whole fiasco happens, you know, Dad's gone, and I keep forgetting the guy from the third movie, the guy that went with him to Italy. Basically, that character,
Marcus Brody, yeah.
Yeah, Marcus is also passed on. So both Marcus and his father in this universe are dead. And honestly, rightfully so, because that would mean that oh my god.
I mean, Henry Jones Sr. would be like in his 70s or 80s.
Yeah,
like
and I don't see Sean Connery playing a decrepit old grandpa. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to see him on adventures at his age either.
Hello, Sean. I'm your grandfather. Hey, back off, old man. Oh, you got a mouth on you. I can take care of that.
Honestly, I would be interested in seeing a scene with Mutt and Henry Jones Sr. I wish we saw a scene.
Oh, he would have popped him one. He would have, because Mutt is a greaser.
Yeah.
Mutt is a straight up greaser. And these young kids need discipline, son. You got to be firm with the backhand.
Yeah.
And then firm with the forehand.
That would be so
It's
fun.
like playing golf. It's like playing 18 holes.
Yeah. That would be so funny.
But no, like Indy, the mindset he's in, and apparently, I hate to do this to y'all. Apparently, in that shot where all the photos are at, there's a photo of our least favorite side character. Apparently, she's in there. She made the cut, guys.
You had to acknowledge her existence.
Yep, we had to acknowledge that Temple of Doom is canon. Willie, he has a picture of Willie. Now, if it's an older photo, I think in like the novelization, they actually poke fun at that by saying like she went after Temple of Doom, she went back home to America and went to Hollywood and married a director.
Oh,
little tongue in cheek there, huh? Wink at camera, smile.
There we go. But
and then she was never seen from again. Thank God. Anyway,
thank God. And please don't bring her back in Dial of Destiny.
They're not gonna bring her back in Dial of Destiny. We made that joke already. If the time for her to come back would have, honestly, that'd have been kind of funny. The time for her to come back would have been in this movie during Indy's big moment, if you know what I mean. Does anyone, if anyone objects to these two's matrimony, speak now. She just kicks open the doors. Yeah, I got something to say, Buster.
No,
I was the best you ever had. And he's like, no, you weren't, bitch.
Bitch, get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God. But anyhow, I like where Indy's mindset is at in this film, and as the course of the film goes on, you find out that not everything ended on that happily ever after right off into the sunset. Like as normal life goes, things got messy, things got complicated. So yeah, I really like Harrison's portrayal in this movie, and I hope that his final portrayal is also good.
Yeah, us too. Let us,
Yeah.
yeah, let us transition into the villains of this movie, the Russians, and specifically Ruby's celebrity crush, Kate Blanchett, playing Spalko.
Wait, his celebrity crush?
It's just for one role.
Which role is that?
There's
Lord of the Rings?
Okay, no. Older viewers will know this. I have been a huge advocate for if they were ever to bring Asajj Ventress to live action, that Kate Blanchett should play Ventress.
I could see that. It's funny. I was watching this film. When I was watching the film, I remember the scene with the ants, and she crushed one between her thighs, and I'm just like, there is a lot of men who would happily want to be in that position.
Oh yes, look, Kate Blanchett is a gorgeous woman.
She is gorgeous, but she gives off, and it also has to do with the roles that she plays. She gives off major Dom vibes.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not talking about Dom from Fast and the Furious either, folks.
But even though I'm personally not into Dom stuff, but like she can still get it. Anyway,
Nah, she gonna have that whip. I ain't about that.
But anyway, to the Russians. So that's another thing of contention that I hear from fans that like they want to see the Nazis again, and I'm like, we've already done Nazis for 2 movies, and it's like about to be three, and it's like once again you didn't say anything about it when there were no Nazis in Temple of Doom, but okay, but it's like I like that there's a nice change of pace as far as the villains. We don't need to do Nazis for every movie.
It's historically accurate.
Yeah, that too. It's historically accurate that the Russians would like be.
This is the Cold War. We're in the 50s. There is the Cold War happening, folks. Sorry that the Nazis were already, for the most part, gone. There's always those splinter groups and people that hide their memorabilia in their basement and then go down there every night before going to bed. But for the most part, Nazis were dead. Nazis were gone. Hitler and Eva Braun, they often say they Persona 3 FES themselves. That's how I'll put that for YouTube's guidelines. But yeah, the Russians being and of course, Stalin. This is something that needs to be said. Stalin was equally a batshit insane person as Hitler. So him wanting mystical artifacts makes sense to me.
But yeah, I thought the Russians were pretty solid as villains in this movie. I would say like with the Russians, like they didn't really have like that character that was like really over the top or mustache twirling like the previous movies. So I could see why like they don't feel like the Russians really stand out as much as the other 3, but like that didn't really bother me. Even with Kate Blanchett's character, like they gave her a little bit of a gimmick here and there, but it was played very subtly, which is something I really appreciated.
Can I say, like you just said, it didn't repeat what you just said about the Nazis? DL, how like it didn't like, they weren't cliched. Basically, there was like a
with the Nazis and like the villains in the Temple of Doom, they had like the over the top characters or like they like mustache twirling. But like the Russians weren't really like that in this movie.
We've done that for 3 movies. I actually thought that it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, me too. They felt like more. They felt a bit more realistic. Yes, exactly. So it's like, isn't that something you want for an Indiana Jones movie? Like, I know you have your over the top like stuff in an Indiana Jones film, but like, as we said, there's still some sort of level of grounded nature in the Indiana Jones films. Like, wouldn't you want that for an antagonist? Do we always want an over-the-top mustache-twirling villain? Like, we don't really need that all the time.
I mean, honestly, like with how mustache-twirly some of those villains were in the previous movies, I'm surprised one of the love interests literally wasn't tied down to railroad tracks.
Right. which is something you could believe will happen in one of these movies if they really want to do it. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I thought Kate Blanchett was pretty solid as Falco. I like the she did have a presence. I liked her sword fighting stuff. What I thought was a bit odd though was like the whole her reading people's minds. That was kind of like, really? Okay.
Because I'm psychic.
Because I'm psychic. I'm like, oh, that's the gimmick you're giving her? Okay. And it doesn't work.
Yeah, it not only does it not work, it doesn't work in the one time that we see her trying to do it.
Yeah, and then also when they strap up Indy to that chair and have him look at the skull, and then even they call it out in the movie. It's like Indy's like, why don't you stare at it? But she's like, it doesn't work for everyone. Oh well, I guess your psychic powers don't work. Okay, you can't even stare at the skull and get what you want. Okay, sure. But other than that, I did like the Russians. And also the the muscle man of the group, because you got to have him to fight Indy in the movie. I can't even say his name. I looked up his name and I can't even say it. It's Dovchenko.
Send me the name, or
Sure.
like type the name. I guess.
Dovchenko.
Dovchenko. I'll put it in the private chat. But I thought he was a pretty good as the muscle. You got to have the muscle in the movie.
Yeah, there's always that big brute that Indy bops the shit out of.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought he was pretty good. He didn't have a lot of lines to say, so that was fine. He's like the silent.
Dovchenko.
You said it 3 different ways.
Dovchenko.
Dovchenko. Is that your final answer?
I'm trying to say it like actually fast. Like that's the Dovchenko.
Yes, try to say that 3 times. Fast. 3 times fast.
No, thank you.
Dovchenko. Don't see. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope,
GG.
But anyway, he was pretty good. Okay, so let's talk about everyone's favorite actor, Shia LaBeouf as Mutt Williams. Okay, look, I know what everyone wants me to say. They want me to say,
Boy.
"Oh, he sucks. Oh, he's out of place. Oh, he was annoying. Oh, he ruins the film. Oh, this, oh, that. Oh, blah, 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 blah." Shut up. Just shut up, guys. He is not bad in this movie at all. He was pretty solid, actually. I enjoyed him. And it's not just because I said that I was a big fan of him as a kid. Like, legit watching him now, I really don't see any significant issues with his performance. I thought he had pretty decent chemistry with Indy in the film, and he was very important to the plot. He was very useful. He didn't seem like a loser or, doing his typical like weird LaBeouf isms. I actually felt like he was trying in this movie. But yeah, and like, do I buy him as Harrison Ford's son? Well, yeah, that's stretching it a little bit. It is stretching it, but like, I think they did the most with what they were given. I thought he made the most of it. Of course, I never expected Indy's son to end up being a greaser, but
I can see it.
You can see it.
I can see it. Given how it happens, it makes sense.
Fair enough. And I thought how they worked in the movie actually was pretty interesting. Like, in a way,
it was hilarious.
It was like, and it's just nice. It was cool just seeing like how different Indy's son is from him. That like, because you never would think Indy's son would end up being a greaser.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It's because he didn't have that, like, I mean, I forget what John Hurt's character. Oh, Ox. He had Ox as like a father figure, but he didn't really have a father growing up, it seems.
Right.
And that absence of male presence will the age-old adage is that the lack of a male presence will lead you down a path of hooliganism.
So yeah, but that was cool. It's funny that he keeps pulling out his comb and combing his very nice greased up hair.
So 50s.
Yep.
Very much so. And it's like whenever they were like teasing like him putting on Indy's hat, which I'm sure everyone was having a heart attack over. Like, why would he ever put a hat on if he keeps combing his hair like that? But it feels like he doesn't want to put any hat on. But yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he was good. What do y'all think about Mutt overall?
He was fine. I think what people were kind of expecting was, since we were getting a fourth Indiana Jones film, and Harrison Ford was starting to get to that age where, he may have to pass the torch on to somebody. I'm kind of thinking that people were a little bit upset that Mutt Williams would have been kind of that guy that would have like carried the torch, I guess, for Indiana Jones, which I guess I didn't really see. I never really saw him like carrying the torch of anything, which I guess I just don't really see Indiana Jones really doing that, like passing the torch anyway, because these adventures are like mainly specific and special to the character, as opposed to like it's not the adventures that made it special, it's the character that goes on these adventures that made it special. And I guess people kind of interpret that the opposite way, where they were kind of looking to see what kind of a different character would kind of come in to fill in the shoes of Indiana Jones, and I guess more specifically the hat of Indiana Jones.
Also, the fact that his real name is Henry Jones III.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that touch, even though like Mutt and Henry kind of really don't make sense. I don't know if like Mutt is kind of like a nickname or like his own name that he picked out himself, which I get that he says that in the film that he named himself that. But
remember the Last Crusade that Indy named himself after the dog.
It was a good dog.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
I have a lot of nice memories with that dog.
But no, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think that he would be the guy that would like carry the torch of anything if that's the direction they wanted to go for. I never really saw him as that character, but I mean, it wouldn't have like hurt the franchise or the film in any way.
Honestly, I was slightly curious to see if Dial of Destiny didn't end up being like what it is now. Like, I slightly would have been curious to see how Mutt would handle somewhat past getting the torch passed to him in a fifth movie. Like I'm not expecting him to like be exactly like Indy from the previous movies. Like, he doesn't have to put on the leather jacket and the hat, but just like him being like the new like lead of of the adventure film. Like, I think that would have been cool. And maybe like you don't have to get rid of Harrison Ford completely. He could be being more of the supporting character to him.
He could kind of be like Henry Jones.
Henry
like
Jones
how
Sr.
He was, Henry Jones Sr., like how he was in the third film.
Now he is Henry Jones Sr. That's how that works.
Yeah. But yeah, like I know like a lot of people like would have been really pissed if they ended up continuing with the Mutt character in the fifth movie and him like being the new lead character. But just like,
well, they jokingly teased at that at the end of the movie, and I thought that was a clever little joke.
Yeah. But like part of me's like, yeah, let's actually go further with it. Let's see what they do with the fifth movie. I can hear it in the comments now. No, don't want it.
Well, you know what they're going to do in the fifth movie, right, DL?
Regarding Mutt?
Regarding Mutt and
I
his
heard
mom.
about it. Yeah, I heard about it.
You see, things don't work out in life, and turns out marriage wasn't the thing that Indy needed. He was actually right.
It's one of the things that's kind of upsetting me about Dial of Destiny, but we can get to that when we get there. We'll get to that when we get there. But
they fucked up. They fucked it up. They fucked it up.
They fucked it up. They fucked it up. Should have just left it like a happy ending, like it was supposed to. But that's
Like last time.
yeah, like in a way, yeah. I mean, because I did say Last Crusade felt like the perfect ending to the franchise, but like even with the ending of this felt like it's not as good. It's not as good as Last Crusade, but I still felt like that was also a really good ending to the franchise. But no,
Here we are again.
Here we are again. They better knock our socks off with Dial of Destiny, but we'll see. Okay, so I guess let's talk about John Hurt as Oxley. May he rest in peace, John Hurt.
Sir John Hurt.
Sir
Yep.
John Hurt, absolutely, Sir John Hurt. I'm conflicted about his character in here because like the whole time he's just like hallucinating from the skull and
He looks like he's tripping balls.
yep, and he's just talking a whole bunch of jibber jabber and all that. I'm just like, I mean, it plays something important in the story, so it's not like it was pointless, but it's just like there's not much there to his character outside of that. He's a plot device, pretty much, and I don't know. I think he's the weakest character of the movie, which is a shame because Sir John Hurt is a great actor. Man, there's not much to say other than that. Anything else? You guys, anything to add about?
Yeah, it did kind of feel weird that John Hurt of all people would like as wonderful of an actor as he is, his appearance in this film was rather questionable. It was weird how it was especially weird how they made him sort of like a plot device, not in the first half of the film, but he didn't start being a plot device until the second half.
Yep.
Around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, around the same time that Marion comes in, which was also a weird time to bring in a new a legacy character. But I don't know. It was weird, even though it's John Hurt, so like the performance, he gives it, but I mean it's just the character that it's one of those bad instances where like the actor is great, but it's just the character is just not up to par.
Yeah. And speaking of Marion, let's talk about the return. The great return of Marion.
The second best girl.
The subpar return.
The subpar return. Because it really does. It doesn't make sense why she went down there.
Well, wasn't it led to assume that she got captured by the Russians?
She did get captured by the Russians, but the reason she's down there is to find Ox, and it's like, honestly, you're a mother, you have a kid to worry about, you really shouldn't be worrying about that old man.
Well, you know that Marion doesn't like to do what she's told, so.
Yes, that fantastically written, strong, independent female character.
She is a great, strong female character.
In the first movie, sure.
Yeah, in this movie, it's kind of.
In this movie, it's not so much.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is post prequels we're talking about, and while I do love Padme,
it's not like damsel.
No,
Marion,
she's not a damsel by any means. It's just that she does stupid shit, thinking that it's a smart idea.
Yeah, she's gone. She's come. I'm sorry to say this, but like she's come to house mom territory now. Like this is not the same active Marion from the first movie. She doesn't even get to punch anybody in this movie. Like it's just.
I really thought she would have at least slapped Kate Blanchett.
At least that would have been cool, but nope, not even that.
The best that they could give her was slam on the brakes.
Is she gonna slap the villain? The best I can do is slam on the brakes.
Yep, and get hit by a branch.
I don't want to break my hand. Break my legs though? It's fine. You only get 2.
Like, yeah, I think she was just there just to have a legacy character again. I'm just like, I don't understand. Where's speaking of legacy characters, where's Solemn? Why couldn't we get
He's
him?
not needed for this movie.
He wasn't needed for this film. I'll say that too. Yeah, he wasn't needed.
I guess not. And
No,
he wasn't
I
in Temple of
understand,
Doom either.
DL. I understand you wanted the same thing that we didn't get in the sequels, which was the band back together from Raiders.
No, I didn't. No, okay. I know everyone was like bitching about we didn't get a moment with Luke and Han and Leia in the sequel trilogy. I wasn't bitching about that like other people was. I was indifferent towards it.
Hi, I'm other people. How are you doing? Made
All
no
right.
sense.
Well, other
Anyway,
people.
back to this, though.
I quenched my thirst with your nerd tears. Anyway,
back to this though.
quench my thirst with your nerd tears.
It makes no sense. Anyway,
Whatever.
back to this though. He's in the new one because it kind of, I guess it'll make sense. It has to make sense. Please God, make it make sense.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
But
Anytime you go near the Middle East, Solemn is there. That's somewhat racist, but at least he's reliable in that area.
Ooh. But yeah, I was underwhelmed by Marion. Even though I was still happy to see her, you know, because we haven't seen her since Raiders. But like, I just wish she had more to do. I wish she did.
I wish that she had a better connection to the story.
Yeah.
Honestly, yes. Other than the big reveal that Mutt is Indy's son.
Which they even kind of like gave it away that she was in the only kind of gave it away that she was in the film because
Yeah.
When he said Marion,
when Mutt was asked, you know, who his mother was, he says Mary Williams, not Marion. He says Mary Williams.
Mary Williams.
But it sounds too similar. It's just like, okay, well, I guess she's in this movie,
yeah, I guess so.
and I guess she's the mother.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, like, do I believe that that Indy and Marion would make a Shia LaBeouf?
No. No.
It's kind of stretching it.
A little bit.
It's
I don't
kinda
even
stretching
think
it.
that
I'm with DL on this.
I don't think that even a Willie and a Indy make a Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, that's even less like so, or even like a Elsa and Indy.
No,
Absolutely
definitely not Elsa. Again, Elsa, except for being a Nazi, was a classy woman.
even though I hate arrogant men, but I'm gonna have sex with you anyway. How dare you kiss me?
Still better than Willie.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. All right, now.
Not only that, how dare you kiss me as a 22-year-old?
Oh, God damn it.
And yeah, and Harrison was in his 40s.
Yep.
James Bond, anybody? Anyway,
why did you have to bring that back?
James Bond.
Damn you!
James Bond. But anyway,
That's my boy.
it was good
Remember,
for me,
son,
too.
3 yeses and 2 nos mean yes.
It was good for me too.
God.
All right, let's talk about Mac.
Whack.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him in this film.
I'm not either.
He felt so out of place.
The double, triple cross FBI,
Okay.
CIA, like what the fuck?
This film does have sprinkles of Temple of Doom logic in this bitch, and this is one of the things that's Temple of Doom logic. The triple, quadruple, ultra, super cross, and it's just like, why are we doing this?
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like,
And how is Indiana Jones not aware of this?
He got fooled. No, like, okay.
3
just like I
times.
did-
He
just
got
like we did-
folded 3 times, yeah.
just like we did the physics of the waterfall. Okay, so where are we? We're Area 51. Okay, British dude and Indy get pulled in. Apparently they have some history. Okay, try to escape. All right, we're off to a good start. Pretty good chase scene. Actually, really good chase scene, and also love the reference that we saw the Ark. Love that.
Yeah, loved it.
Also, don't actually believe the fact the Russians would have just left the Ark of the Covenant laying there. But anyway, we're moving forward.
Yeah.
Before we get to that big chase, Turns out this is why you never trust the British, because they'll turn on you. Okay, so now he's turned on him. Okay, well, now we're escaping. We escaped.
All right.
Gets captured later on in the film. Come on, Jonesy. It's just like Berlin. And it's like, what the fuck is Berlin? Because we're all like, what's Berlin? What's like Berlin?
Yeah, they're
out,
talking about all their great adventures that we don't see off screen. Don't question what happens off screen.
And it's like, I'm a double agent, you nitwit. Okay, cool. Goes back with Indy now. We're back on Team Indy. More of the film progresses, more of the plot happens. Another chase scene. Oh, turns out I'm a triple agent.
Or no,
I
he was just
lied.
saying he was lying about everything the whole time.
Yeah,
No,
we get to the very end, that like towards like one of the last scenes of the film. Oh, I'm a double triple agent.
No. I'll do this for DL's amusement. Oh, and the thing about me being a double agent, I lied. Just
I'm not
pull
amused.
Wait, what?
I'm not amused.
I lied. I
pulled
lied
a
about
Eddie
being the
Guerrero
double.
for you, damn it. At least
I know you
was
did.
Chuckle.
I know you did. Heh. There you go.
That was pity, and I did not accept it. Anyway,
Sorry.
it's still either way, it's still ridiculous. And then what makes this part actually like confused me when the ship. I know we're jumping the gun a lot with the plot, but when the ship actually goes to take off and he's about to get sucked in, Indy can save him. And also his legs, I don't know what happened, but he like just falls. He's like, "Nope, Jonesy, it's too late for me. Leave me." And I'm like, "You can still get up and run. There's nothing wrong with your leg.
Up and run."
Like this heroic sacrifice shit. You're a triple agent. Like, I'm surprised Indy's actually trying to save your ass.
Yeah, I don't.
Leaps in logic.
Yeah, even with him, like,
Indy this must be like, oh my god, this must be George Lucas's ways of showing that early stage Alzheimer's is affecting Indy, because he forgets that this guy just stabbed him in the back twice.
Oh shit. But and even like with him, the second time he switches sides, when he turns good again, contributes nothing to the story. Nothing. So he could have just stayed bad the entire time.
Like, it throws a couple punches, like, whatever.
Yeah, like, there was no point. There's no point in him doing that.
When I get out of this, I'm gonna break your nose.
He wasn't lying.
He wasn't lying.
Come
Hey,
on.
Yeah, man.
You broke my nose. I told you.
But yeah, man, I didn't like him either. And once again, it's like, you would think, if from Indy getting double crossed so many times over the years, you would think he would be more aware of that, but no.
Oh, it's not even that. It's just the fact that he did it twice.
3 times actually, but
What was the third time?
so the first time was when he first was
Russians.
siding with the Russians.
Siding with
The
the
second time
Sided with
was
Indy.
pretend to be a good guy, and then the third time he's a bad guy, and he led the Russians to them when they got to the kingdom.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that is 3 times. I really wasn't adding going back to Team Indy as like anything. Like,
And like, cause this was a detail like I picked up when I last watched it, when those weird tracker things that the Russians kept picking up when they were going to the kingdom. I was like, oh yeah, he's about to double cross them again, which is gonna be so stupid. And yep, that's what happened. Spackle kept picking up those flashing things off the ground. I'm like, oh dang, Mac put them there, didn't he? Yep. What a shock. Anyway, well, let's start the Crystal Skull. So we talked about earlier. So the whole gimmick of this is the UFOs, aliens, and stuff like that, which I guess was like a popular thing in the 50s. I guess that was the trend now, which historically I guess it would be more accurate. I don't necessarily have a problem with them addressing aliens. It's just that I think my main issue with it goes to an over to an to a bigger issue that I have with the movie as far as the tangibility of the film. The previous three movies, which I understand this is an issue for a lot of people when they talk about this movie, is that with the previous three movies, they were very groundbreaking as far as practical effects and stunt work and stuff like that. This movie relied a lot more on CGI, visual effects, green screen. Now, I've said in the previous streams that, at the time when they were making those original three movies, they didn't have the resources they have now. Yes, they were willing to go above and beyond with the stunt work because they didn't have any other resources to do that. Realistically, studios and filmmakers don't want the actors to get hurt. They don't want the actors to do all those stunts because that's a liability on them. They don't want the actors to get injured at all because that means that the film itself would be in jeopardy if the main actors get hurt. So they got lucky with the first three movies that Harrison did all this stuff and he ended up being okay. Realistically, now that they have the resource that they have now, they would have to rely more on visual effects. They have to. They can't do the stuff that they're doing now, especially with Harrison being at the age that he is now. You can't expect for Harrison to do the same stuff that he's doing 30 years
Which
ago.
is why he told them to not even worry about doing that stuff because he wants to show that Indy is a old man.
Yes. Now, watching the movie now, I can see there's like one of the things I love about Spielberg is that he only uses CGI when it was absolutely necessary. He does his very best to include practical stuff in any way, shape, or form. I feel like in this movie, though, Spielberg was cutting corners more than he needed to. I felt that. Like, even with the set pieces, like the chase in the forest, which I still think is a great set piece. It's probably the best set piece of the entire movie. I loved it. I thought it was great for the most part. But even in that chase scene, like when they're driving in the forest, I noticed there'll be certain shots where you could tell that they're actually driving in the forest, and then there's other shots where you could tell that they're not. And I felt like they could have tried harder to have the entire scene be in the forest. Like, there are certain corners that they cut where it's like they didn't need to do that. They didn't need to do that. Now, I'm not saying that the CGI on the green screen was bad. It wasn't. Because, like, even compared to the previous three movies, you could totally tell that they were in a green screen in the previous three films. So I'm not saying that the green screen was bad in this. But it was noticeable that they weren't actually in a forest. And that was shocking to me. And, like, even, like, I'll skip a little bit towards and like there's certain animals in here that was CGI that didn't need to be. What is up with the gophers in this film? Why are
I'm
gophers?
not really sure what they symbolize.
They're
Like-
no. DL, they're not gophers.
Oh, I'm sorry. What here
They're-
here comes menace animal facts. Let's go.
They're prairie dogs,
Prairie dogs.
which are different than gophers and groundhogs.
Okay.
Prairie dogs are mostly found out in the Midwest, which is where Area 51 is. So prairie dogs, that's on point.
Okay. I just felt like that was very distracting because, like, they weren't in it. They were in it like not once, not twice, not three times. They did it at least 4 times in this movie where we cut to CGI prairie dogs.
I mean,
For-
to be fair, prairie dogs are not as cliched and overdone as a tumbleweed.
I guess so, but just like it just felt so weird. Like
Prairie dogs are they are very prominent out in the Midwest. Like, actually, Lord have mercy. I hope I actually don't find out this, but let me see.
But yeah, it's just like my thing is that in the previous films, you had real snakes, you had real alligators, you had real rats, and in this movie, all the animals are CGI. you tell me that they couldn't get any prairie dogs for this film? Actual prairie dogs?
Hold on. No, that's not what I wanted to know. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so let's see. No, that's recent numbers, but oh shit, that's actually terrifying. So then apparently prairie dogs numbers have decreased by over 95%. Today they may have numbers around 10 to 20 million.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but let me but just as like prairie dogs are very, very commonplace in the Midwest. It's almost as it almost is like right next to tumbleweed. Or do you live in the West? Okay, do you have prairie dogs? Yes. Do you have a tumbleweed? Yeah, you're in the West.
So, okay. So with that being said, if they're so common in that area, why couldn't Spielberg and Lucas actually shoot real prairie dogs?
I think doing it CG, you can animate how you want them to act versus training an animal. Again, it is sort of lazy, but I also understand it was probably a time save maneuver as well, like because you have to actually train the animals to do the movements you want. And so that's my guess as to why they did that. It's
Not
more
to
of a
men-
cost saving measure and also time saving measure.
I was gonna say it was probably a way where they could yeah, like you said, it could save time on filming, because I remember seeing Temple of Doom with the crocodiles. It just felt like they were just shooting like footage of crocodiles just being crocodiles.
Yeah, that's what crocs are really hard to train like that.
That's why at the end you just throw like you throw like a fake body in there, or you just throw some clothes in there, and then you just shoot.
What you do is that
alligators.
in between the clothes, you throw slabs of meat, and the gators know, oh, we're getting fed. We need to like huddle up so we can get our food, and that's when you throw the clothes in between to make it look like that they're eating the people.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Well, either way though, like
Same thing with the elephants.
the elephants, yeah. But but at the same time, this is one of the things where like I understand why people were having an issue with this, because yes, whether it's stock footage they did with the alligators and all the other stuff, it's just so jarring that in this movie, that the animals and other set pieces and stuff like that is so CGI reliant, when it's it feels like they could have took the extra mile to have actual animals there. And do the prairie dogs even add anything to the story? They don't. And it's just so weird that they're rendering these CGI prairie dogs to react like they're cartoons. They're watching Indy getting blasted off in that freaking rocket. What was the point of having that shot? There was no need to have that.
You mean the one where they in front of the rockets being shot in the background and the prairie dogs were in the foreground?
Yep, and they're staring at. There's a bunch of prairie dogs staring at the rocket going past. I'm like, why?
That was supposed to be funny.
That wasn't funny. That was just
I'm just telling you that it was supposed to be funny. The joke did not land for you, and I understand that. I'm just telling you that that's what they did it for.
I know that was there for comic relief, but it didn't work. It was just weird. And then on top of that, the worst sequence I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say the worst sequence, but the goofiest sequence of this entire movie. Shia LaBeouf swinging with the monkeys. What the actual hell was that?
You want to know what was running in my head when I saw this scene? Insert Phil Collins music here.
Oh, the power to be strong and the wisdom to be wise. Oh, you
don't want to get a copyright.
I'm done.
Copyright.
I've done the Disney cast, and we sing a snippet of it in the beginning, so I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, that that sequence was so ridiculous. CGI monkeys swinging with Shia LaBeouf. Why did we need that? Why?
Again, it was a campy way for him to catch back up, even though realistically speaking, there was no way that he first off he would have the actual arm strength to do that, and secondly that would be a fast way to catch up with the Russians that are trying to kill your parents.
But even then, I can suspend my disbelief a little bit that Mutt would swing from vine to vine to get to the
I'll be honest,
trucks
DL, with suspension of disbelief in these scenes, I believe that could happen. That's a more believable scene than the fridge.
I'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second. But just like, it's just.
I'm just saying.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, I don't have a problem with them using visual effects in an Indiana Jones movie, but it's just like, it's strange that Spielberg and specifically Lucas felt the need to add these CGI elements that doesn't work, or it's unnecessary. You know, that swinging from the vine scene would have been a whole lot better if they cut out the CGI monkeys, because you didn't need them.
But again, it's the Amazon jungle. I do believe there are some monkeys that live in the Amazon. Let me see. Is my microphone still?
Yeah, not only that, to piggyback off of that, I guess the thing that kind of caught my attention more than just the CGI of that scene, which I do agree does look a little ridiculous, but I kind of saw it in the context of, like, you know, maybe they are kind of wanting to make like Mutt Williams sort of like the new Indiana Jones, and this is sort of him like swinging around everywhere, kind of, you know, hinting, you know, hey, he's gonna be, you know, the next in line or something like that, and that's
the next Jones.
I mean, hey, he's fencing with Spalko while they're driving, which I thought that was a really cool scene too. So it's like So I don't have a problem.
And it
with
didn't
them.
come out. In a nowhere, because in a previous scene he said he
had mentioned that he was in fencing school.
Yeah. So
Right.
this isn't like just some random, like, oh, he just knows how to fence now. Like, no, like this is pre-established. One line of dialogue did it, but it was pre-established. Anyhow, so
also, that was another scene that kind of made me think, oh yeah, we're definitely watching a George Lucas written film where we're just seeing sword fighting happening. It's just like, yeah, he's wanting to make Star Wars Indiana Jones.
And I do think that it is a Lucas touch, but I do also feel like that's a Spielbergy type of thing that he would do as far as swashbuckling action. Like, that's something that he would do as well.
Yeah.
Just to say, there are 6 different types of monkeys that live in the Amazon: howler monkeys, spider monkeys, capuchin monkeys, squirrel monkeys, marmosets, and tamarins. I almost said Tamaranian, but we're not talking about Starfire species here.
I'm about to say.
Like what?
Because someone could clip that out of context, and I am canceled.
Oh boy, especially because we have a black Starfire.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm saying that. Anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah,
But,
so
like-
him speaking with the monkeys, I'm just saying there's so many different types of monkeys that live in the jungle. It's more believable than surviving an atomic explosion in a
Okay.
lead fridge.
We're gonna get into that in a second, but I'm just saying I don't have a problem. Once again, I don't have a problem with them having prairie dogs or monkeys in here, but can we actually have real prairie dogs and monkeys? Because you went out of your way to get real snakes, real rats, real spiders for the previous 3 movies. I don't think that would have taken that much effort to get monkeys and prairie dogs.
Didn't they correct me if I'm wrong, but for Raiders, didn't they have a real monkey?
Yes.
Yes, they
that
did.
film?
For
Yeah.
the because it was like the thing. Hey, look, it's the Arab with the music box and the monkey.
Yep. And the monkey actually helped the Nazis get Marion too. So, Yep. But like, yeah, I just felt that that's weird. Like, I don't have a problem with them using visual effects or CGI, but when it's absolutely necessary, and I didn't feel that was necessary. All right, let's talk about the nuking the fridge, because that's the biggest point of contention for people. That's the thing that was the breaking point for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. That's the thing that was the breaking point for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. That's the thing that was the breaking point for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. That's the thing that was the breaking point for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The nuking of the fridge. Okay, so, 'cause that's the biggest point of contention for people. The So, I agree that the sequence itself is ridiculous. It is. I'm not saying that it's not. It is very stupid that somebody can survive a nuclear explosion by just going into a fridge. But not just going into a fridge, but actually not getting incinerated being in the fridge and flying thousands of like flying up in the air and then crashing to the ground without any brutal injuries or limbs being broken.
Well, wouldn't you know, there's a Business Insider did a whole bit on this. You can't survive a nuclear bomb by hiding in a fridge. So let's see. Let's see. George Lucas has since tried to defend the plot device, including in a recent New York Times article. In response to Spielberg's fears, Lucas put together a whole nuking the fridge dossier. It was about 6 inches thick. He indicated with his hands, Lucas said that if the refrigerator were lead lined, and if Indy didn't break his neck when the fridge crashed to Earth, and if he were having a lot of ifs here, and if he were able to get the door open, he could in fact survive. The odds of surviving the refrigerator for a lot of scientists are about 50-50, Lucas said. But science has spoken, and it says something a little differently.
Like, let's keep in mind, even if it protected him from the blast of the explosion, he still got launched way up into the sky and fell to the ground. And like, he didn't get any broken bones or anything like that.
At overthinking it, they subjected the scene to a scientific peer review and came out with the conclusion that the odds of Indiana Jones surviving are roughly 0%.
Yeah, so I am not defending the physics of that scene. It is 100%.
Oh, it's up there with
ridiculous.
It's up there with the waterfall from Temple of Doom.
Now that's what I'm saying. How are people having an issue with that? But I hear no one complaining about the raft sequence in Temple of Doom.
And if you want to know what we're talking about, please go back and watch the short on DL's chat. It's actually quite hilarious.
If you guys love Temple of Doom, you know which sequence we're talking about. You know which one we're talking about. When they fall out of the plane with the inflatable raft, Ruby and Meta described it perfectly when we were talking about it. That entire sequence, nobody had an issue with that, even though that is just as ridiculous as the nuke in the fridge.
What I actually have watched that clip on loop because I find it so funny how Ruby and I are discussing the scene, and then DL comes out of nowhere, and people want to complain about nuking the fridge. And I'm like,
but this is completely acceptable. That's fine. That's okay. We can buy that. Like, that's bullshit. That is bullshit.
Imagine if even more believable. Imagine if the fridge landed right in front of the Russians, like right dead front and center of them. He just falls out. Well,
I was thinking like the fridge could like land like right on top of the Russian's car,
or that,
and just like crushes through and just kills everybody,
except for Indy.
Except for Indy, because plot armor.
Yeah, that plot armor's kind of nice to have, ain't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's my favorite type of armor to get in Dark Souls.
Oh boy. But like, I think it's fair to assume that the Indiana Jones movies have established that they're not afraid to have leaps in logic as far as physics.
They do not mind jumping the shark.
They don't. So why is this too much for people? Why is this ridiculous? And you're completely ignoring the other crazy stuff that happened in the previous 3 movies. I don't understand it. I really don't. Is it because that the raft thing, like, it looked like it was a more practical set piece, so people were able to accept it more, but this was the full CGI sequence? Is that why it's stupid? Like, what is it? Can somebody explain to me?
Make
why?
It make sense.
Make it make sense. Like,
because honestly, Indy, Willie, and Short Round should have died of natural causes after they fell off that waterfall.
Like, seriously.
Because gravity is natural.
I want somebody in the live chat and or the comments to explain to me why Nuke in the Fridge is horrible, but the raft sequence in Temple of Doom is fine. Please explain to me. Please.
I can hear the keyboards.
I'm waiting for it. But regardless of that, I'm with you guys that the Nuke in the Fridge is over the top and crazy. I'm not defending it. I'm not defending the physics. It is crazy. But it's just crazy. It's weird to me how people are so angry about this scene and nothing else. Like Lily, I acknowledge. I honestly, I feel like when George Lucas was coming up with that set piece, he literally wanted to make up a scenario just so they can have this shot in this movie. Indy in front of a mushroom cloud, which is a very cool visual to see in an Indiana Jones film. But to get to that shot was pretty ridiculous how they got to that point. You could have thought of a more natural way of them to get to that point. But I think that's the only reason that Nuke in the Fridge scene exists, because they wanted to see that visual of Indy in front of a mushroom cloud.
Not only that, it just kind of makes me think about like what the context was of like why he even went there in the first place, and it kind of made me think about like, well, it was probably so that he could probably like find a way to like call somebody to have him pick him up or something. But I try to like I'm a guy that like tries to like trace his footsteps like backwards as to like, you know, how they got there in the first place. Is like, well, if they got that, like, how did they get there? Well, it was, you know, they were at the warehouse, but how did they get to the warehouse? Well, they were taken there because they were captured in Mexico. Well, what happened in Mexico? Oh, they were just stealing stuff. Like, why were they stealing stuff in Mexico? It's just like it's those like little, like, it's not like little details, but it's like details that are like left like out in the open. Like, we're left to just assume that they were like, we try to like figure out like, were they sent to Mexico to look for random items, or was it just like for fun, or was it, you know, something else? Like, what made them want to go to Mexico first, and what made it get to the point where they were captured by the Russians in Mexico of all places?
I don't know. Like, look, it's cool that, you know, that Indy's talking about his many adventures, you know, when he was younger, and like there's a lot of stuff that he talks about that we don't see, but it's just like there's a lot of exposition that they put in this film that, like, there's certain things that you start to question, like, wait, when did this happen? How did this happen? Why did this happen?
I mean, because like historically speaking, there were communists in Nicaragua, but that was the 80s. We were about 30 years off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I see Samir saying that Spielberg and Lucas were not really eye to eye on the script. That is actually true.
Yeah, you could feel it. You could feel it.
Like we said earlier, you could definitely feel the George Lucas vibe from this film. It was just
Lucas, Lucas had just gotten off making the prequels. He didn't, and again, those films were solely him. He didn't have to answer to no one. He didn't have to agree on something with anyone. He was the boss. To go from that mindset for 99 to 2005, that's actually no, 94, because that's when he started writing them. So
right,
almost a decade, really, like almost a decade.
Yeah. Though, like,
no, a decade. No, it was a decade and a year, actually.
Right, but like, I'm sorry. Look, I know Spielberg and Lucas are best friends, but it's just like Spielberg needs to put his foot down more. He really does. Like, he needs to learn to tell Lucas no.
That's what they basically did for the original. That's what they basically did for the original trilogy, and look at where it got them. It's one of the most beloved trilogies of all time.
Right, but
Lucas doesn't know when to stop sometimes, and that's his big problem. I say sometimes because we could actually like debate on what we think should have not been in what and whatever, but. Luke, I will admit that for some things, Lucas just doesn't know when to quit and when to stop, and like enough is enough. Like, this is good, leave it as it is. The man just wants to be so revolutionary that he gets in his own way.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Anyway, another sequence we didn't really talk about is the motorcycle chase. I thought was really, really good. That felt like vintage Indiana Jones. I thought that was really, really good when they're getting chased by the FBI agents and they're driving the motorcycle at the college too.
Oh, those were Russian agents.
Oh, Russian agents. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that entire sequence I thought was cool, and that actually you did see Harrison doing some stunts on his own, like actually doing some good stuff with the motorcycle, which like I did not expect that. So it's like it's that type of stuff right there where like it does feel like Indiana Jones. Like I don't understand where people are saying like this doesn't feel like Indiana Jones. There's plenty of really good Indiana Jones moments in here, some good Spielberg moments as well. So it's just like people just need to calm down on here.
There were some decent callbacks to earlier films as well.
Yeah, there were.
Like there was supposed to be like a funny bit where the Russians accidentally run into Marcus Brody's statue or whatever, and then the head falls off and falls into the car.
Oh, that did happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mutt's laughing, but then Andy's like just straight dead. He was like, how dare you?
That was a good man.
That was a good man. That was my friend.
About you now. I don't sound exactly like them, but I feel like I'm getting the attitude, right?
Yeah, you definitely are. The best use of CGI as far as animals and whatever set pieces, in my opinion, was the stuff with the ants. That was an actually really exciting sequence.
Yeah. Those ant sequence.
Now, listen to me.
Yeah.
Okay, no. That scene, I forgot 97% about this movie. The bit that I didn't forget was the ants.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
It scarred me, DL.
Well, it's an Indiana Jones movie. You can't be.
We're not in the 80s anymore. We're not in the 80s.
It don't matter.
Yes, it does matter.
You gotta have something shocking in Indiana Jones.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Then why did we get two of them?
It's the charm of the Indiana Jones films.
We
even had a creepy image when Spelko was getting like dusted away into the UFO.
I actually have some contention with that, but we'll get to that later. But
you got the ants. It wasn't just the ants actually eat people alive. It was with Delco, like they actually went inside of his body and were eating him from the inside out.
Yep, and they dragged the dead body into their anthill. That was awesome. That was awesome.
No, the fact that you're getting a reaction out of Meta goes to show how good it actually looks.
Like I know that's a bad phrase, but like I'm just. That scene really just makes me so uncomfortable. Like I don't
know how
that was the point of it.
Yeah, that was the point.
They succeeded.
Exactly.
GG.
I don't know what like most people were thinking of or what thought of that ant scene, but like I heard one of the biggest issues I hear from people is they're saying that this movie doesn't have enough grit and intensity. That scene alone has plenty of grit and intensity,
like getting your head chopped off by a propeller sounds humane in comparison.
Yeah, I will admit though that there are certain moments where this movie feels like a little cleaner than what I actually would like. Like there's like dirt and grime in the previous three movies, and like there could have been a little bit more dirt and grime in this movie. But as far as grit and intensity, there is grit and intensity in this movie. Like I really liked how that ant scene was staged, like these ants like have a hive mind and like as we talked about earlier, they go inside people, they drag their dead carcasses to their hill. It's like some Ant-Man shit. Like they tower on top of each other so they can bring.
No, but like Ant-Man made it look cool. Like this film made
this
me
is
never.
Cool.
DL.
This is awesome. If
No.
Ant-Man was doing this shit, I actually would be scared of Ant-Man.
If Ant-Man was doing this shit, he wouldn't be a hero now, would he?
Like Ant-Man was a hero to begin with from the comics.
He was.
Anyway, In the comics, not really. But that's another.
I'm
argument for a
talking
different
about the
thing.
MCU.
Eh.
I think that's. I think
my
it's
God.
cool. Like you just a baby. Anyway.
God, I really just don't like that scene. It's probably my God. Ooh, I know it got the reaction they wanted from me, but oh,
Yeah, when the ants were like towering on top of each other to get to Spalko when she's hanging onto a
and
branch,
that's the
like
one she- when
like
she crushed
like
the
they
bomb.
actually have like the knowledge and the strength to actually do that.
yeah, like that's cool.
Like that's terrifying.
And then it's like we find out that the skull is able to
because of the electromagnetic frequency.
electromagnetic frequency, so they created a field around Indy and Dovchenko fighting, brawling while the ants are around them. Like that was actually a gripping sequence, like because like you're seeing that Indy's fighting for his life, but they were also thinking, please don't fall to the ground, so the ants will eat you. Like that was, I just loved how all that was staged. I thought it was great.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was probably the best use of like CGI animals in this movie. Like,
And they weren't even like real animals; they were just like little insects, which was
Bugs.
kind of it was easy to kind of like work around like a whole army of them, I guess.
yeah,
You know, that were all just one color.
right. Now, okay, 3 times it drops. that.
All right, let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right. You took my least favorite scene, the scene that made me the most frustrated from Temple of Doom, and you said, "What if we did this but on steroids?"
Yeah.
At least the waterfalls actually looked decent.
Yeah, the waterfalls actually look.
I'll add
decent.
on to that, Ruby. At least on the last one, they actually fell out of the boat.
Mhm.
Yeah, because like, there's no way you can convince me that they held onto the raft in Temple of Doom the entire time. At least they were like
Right,
the third waterfall that was huge, freaking huge. There's no way they're holding on to that truck. There's no way.
Well, to be fair, I feel like the first 2 waterfalls were supposed to make you feel like, that the waterfalls weren't like incredibly huge. Whereas like the third one was like massive.
Yeah.
Like when you see like the first 2 waterfalls and then you see the third one, it's just like, yeah, of course they're going to fall out of the boat at that point. But like, yeah, there is kind of like the weird argument of like, could they have fallen out of the boat originally? Which they actually kind of did in those first 2 waterfalls, because you see them climbing back into it.
Right.
You just don't see them. You just don't see them falling out of it until they hit the water, I guess.
Right. Now, there's also an argument where it's like, would they be able to survive all 3 of those waterfalls?
First 2 probably.
debatable.
Third one.
The third one's kind of debatable.
Yeah. But I'm like, it's fine. It's whatever.
We can suspend our disbeliefs enough to believe that they can survive a large waterfall.
Yeah.
Like that's plausible, I guess.
It's fine. Okay, so let's talk more about this this crystal skull.
Good, you picked the best picture for that, didn't you?
I tried really hard. There wasn't really a good image of the crystal skull I could look up. That's like the best way I could get. But other stuff was like the replicas and whatever. But as far as that as a MacGuffin, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it's as good as the Ark and the Holy Grail, but it's definitely better than those stupid stones in Temple of Doom by a mile.
Yeah.
And it actually was useful in certain situations. As we were talking about the ant sequence, it helped to propel them, and it also helped to unlock certain chambers when they get to the kingdom as well. So it was nice to see a MacGuffin where it's like they're not only going after that certain MacGuffin, but they're using that to get something much bigger, much more valuable. So that was pretty good. Yeah, once again, going back to the whole like alien thing or interdimensional beings, that's what they call it in this movie, but they're aliens.
I'm not saying aliens. But aliens.
But aliens. Okay, so here's what's weird about it though, because they also wanted to tie in the stuff with El Dorado, the city of gold, as well. Which I thought that was weird for them to include the aliens with that, because they could do something completely separate with the El Dorado stuff, you know? So it's like, part of me's like, why didn't they just like go more into that? Well, we all probably all know why, because Lucas wanted to do aliens in here. But like, I don't know. It's really strange that they tried to mix the El Dorado stuff and the alien stuff together, because those two could be completely different plot points if they wanted to do that. So I don't know. And then I would say like after the waterfall sequence, that's when the pacing of the movie started to slow for me, because like it was just it was about them getting into the kingdom and reading inscriptions and like all that stuff. It wasn't as exciting as the stuff we gotten up until that point. And then the actual like reveal at the end with this shot was memed to death.
He knows what you did.
Mhm.
Oh, no, go back to DL. I know what you are.
Just like, I'm sorry, like this is that shot was goofy.
No. I got one more, and it has to do with what I said earlier. One more. I'm sorry, DL. I'm sorry. When I'm enjoying a show and then I see an incest plot line.
Okay. So that's an inside joke. That was something we were talking about before we went live, by the way. So
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's me. My bad.
yeah. But I thought the actual reveal of the interdimensional beings, I did find that underwhelming. I did. And I was willing to go with the plot line with the aliens. I was willing to go with it, but like I was talking about earlier, it just once again feels like them cutting corners as far as the visual effects and stuff like that. You know, like one of the other things that I really do appreciate, that I know Meta doesn't appreciate as much, is that when they do the shocking reveal of the artifact, we get some sort of shock factor with them, you know? And it's like the shock factor with this didn't really hit. And that part of it is because of the visual effects of the aliens. Like it didn't really look that great. Honestly, Spielberg did E.T. So it's like, why couldn't we get a practical alien? Like, just like one shot with a practical alien, you know? I think it would have just felt more tangible that way. And then Ruby, you talked about earlier with the interdimensional being giving the infinite knowledge to Spalko, but it was too much, and then she started combusting and disintegrating, right? I wish that scene was more shocking visually, because that's something that I liked from Raiders and Last Crusade. Like if when she was disintegrating, if it was more of a shocking image, like a more disturbing image, I think it would have hit more. But the fact that not only was it not really shocking or like disturbing, you could tell, especially that was an effect. Like she just disappeared. Like there's nothing really like shocking about that visual. And I feel like that the interdimensional beings things would have hit more if it was played up to be more disturbing and shocking, and it wasn't. And then the whole thing with the UFO coming out of the kingdom, I'm like, what?
Aliens.
What?
It's Prometheus. It's like that's the only thing I could really think of.
Prometheus. I didn't even think of it like that, but you're absolutely right. It's Prometheus. And once again, very similar to the mushroom cloud, that also felt like a visual that Lucas always wanted to see. Like Indy standing in front of a UFO. And
the effect doesn't look bad, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. But It's just I get what DL is saying though. It's like
It
that was
feels
on a
jarring.
that
to
was on a
see
bucket
it.
list or a checklist for Lucas that he wanted to do for an indie film.
Yeah.
And I also want to say I want to give like context. Back when this film came out, one of the reasons I was mostly interested in it was because of the aliens aspect, because I was super into aliens at the time. And I thought them adding Roswell was clever and all this other stuff. But now I'm like, yeah, it still is. I mean, if you're going to do a story about aliens, you got to add Area 51. I mean, for God's sake, people almost died invading that base. You might as well, like, go with the meme at that point. But
I just wish they had a practical alien or something. Like,
well, I will say this though, DL. Again, this was if this was mostly a Lucas thing, Lucas does not go backwards. Remember that. In fact,
he
that
thinks
was one
using practical puppets is going backwards.
Yes, he does. He does. And I'm not saying I agree with that. I am saying though that even that's why that is why though for the special editions there's so much CG. And the biggest example of this, DL, that is why for the original version of Phantom Menace there's the puppet. But the re-release is CG Yoda.
Okay, but
You
like,
could say it's for consistency, but I really think it's because he does not want like the last century's special effects in his work. Like, he wants it to be this like cutting edge, state of the art thing. And again, the practical effects was one of the biggest things Lucas hated about The Force Awakens when he saw the early advanced screening.
oh, he's high on some cocaine for that. Now
He said y'all are going back. That's what his exact words were in Bob Iger's book was. He told Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, and J.J. Abrams, y'all went backwards. Like, y'all did not progress with like, that's Lucas's whole thing. He loves progressing with cinematic technology.
But
and
you're
again,
not James Cameron, dude. You're not James Cameron. You're not attention to detail like he is. If you're going to do that, like that's the problem with that. And
You're the guy that's supposed to come up with all the ideas, not the guy that's supposed to like, try to
work on the intricacies of the visual effects. That's not your thing.
Yeah.
But I will say that Yoda thing you talked about with Phantom Menace, that's actually one of the few examples where that was good that he replaced it with the CGI Yoda, because the puppet in the original looked terrible.
I liked the puppet.
No, it looked bad. It looked bad.
In the Phantom Menace?
In the Phantom Menace, it looked bad.
It did look bad.
That was one of the few examples
like
where
Puppet
I'm
Yoda.
glad.
It was too bad, but I mean,
I
will
like
say
the
I
puppet
do-
in the original trilogy and The Last Jedi, but not in Phantom Menace.
I do have nostalgia for the Phantom Menace puppet Yoda. I do have nostalgia for that. I will admit that.
Oh, I do too. I'm not gonna disagree with
I
that.
remember going to Taco Bell and getting like the collector cups, and I remember like it's part of my childhood, and I will defend puppet Yoda, but
Fine. But like, I'm sorry, going backwards? Are you sure, Star Wars fans?
even
Did you want
even
Lucas
like
to take
even
over
the
Star
special
Wars?
edition of the all right, even the special edition of the original trilogy. People say that he had all that CG and it ruined perfect films. I think the only one that damages it is the Return of the Jedi, because that scene with the singer just
Oh, Jedi Rock.
oh god.
Yikes.
Yo.
Someone get Madonna off. Someone get Madonna off stage now. Her plastic surgeon needs to try again.
Jesus Christ. But yeah.
That's the one CG scene that Lucas added to the original trilogy that I disagree with. That's the only one.
That and in A New Hope they had like that big walking alien thing just literally walk in front of the shot for no reason.
Wait. At what part in episode 4? Because I have a feeling I know what you're talking about.
When Ben and Luke are driving into
Mos Eisley
Mos
Spaceport.
Eisley, yep, and then
Okay.
you see this alien literally walk in front of the shot for no reason.
Yeah.
I defend that by saying that Mos Eisley is supposed to be like a hub. It's supposed to be a very busy hub. Like, that's like going to Atlanta and then not expecting anyone to be there.
I understand that.
It's a busy town is what I'm getting at. Like, it's like they're on a desert planet, so those types of hubs are going to be filled to the brim with people, just like a old western town kind of thing.
I understand that, and I don't have a problem with him adding the other stuff in. Most honestly, it was just that one specific shot that just was a bit jarring. That was just weird. That this CGI thing just really walked in front of the shot. It was.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but thinking about all of that made me think of the alien with the gas mask.
Yep.
Oh, the Imperial spy.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that design stuck around for the Imperial spies because I thought it was awesome. I was like, this is just weird, and I think it's funny.
But
Anyway.
yeah, like okay, so
But yeah, I'm just saying though that's what Lucas has gone on record saying, that like he thinks that movie making should always move forward with technology and make the most of what it's capable of doing, and that's why he now will use mostly special effects over any. He will not use practical effects. If he made a movie right now, I'm not saying he will, but if he did make a movie right now, I guarantee you there's a 97% chance he will only use CG.
and this is one of the reasons why this is why I don't want George Lucas to take Star Wars back, because he still doesn't fully understand everything about the filmmaking process. As far as that, there are really great examples of really good practical effects today. For him to look at The Force Awakens and I guess the rest of the sequel trilogy and say that the practical
it was
effects in
just
there
The Force
bringing-
Awakens. It was just The Force Awakens.
Okay, he's completely out of left field with that. I'm sorry. I completely disagree with him. Like, I understand that like he was upset that like that they were doing the same story over and over again, which I understand that part. But as far as him saying that there's no place for practical effects, no.
Well, I mean, I see, like, I get what he's trying to say is that like we're in like this fully technological age where anyone's imagination can be put onto the big screen with enough people that know what they're doing, making the special effects, and all it takes is just getting those people together and making it happen. However,
and enough money.
However, just because that's possible, that doesn't mean that people aren't going to want to use practical effects instead because it's cheaper. I'm relatively certain it's cheaper to have practical effects versus CG.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
so it's practical, it's cheaper, but also if the vision calls for practical effects, then let them have practical effects. But I get his mindset. I think it is a bit skewed. He's trying to look toward the future in a way, but it's a very narrow look into the future.
Well, if you really want to look into the future, you should think of more innovative ways to make the practical effects look better. Because here's the reality of the situation. I understand what Lucas was trying to do with the prequels. If you could really look at that, like that's the first of its kind of having a full-on CGI environment like that. He paved the way for stuff like Avatar and Jungle Book and all that stuff. So I commend him for doing that. But what he has to understand is that practical versus CGI, practical will always feel more visually tangible than CGI. Unless you're James Cameron, which he is definitely not. He's not a perfectionist when it comes to that. It'll be one thing if his visual effects were like on that similar level, but the fact that he's trying to argue that his effects in the prequels are better than anything that was done in the sequel trilogy as far as practical effects, that's no. Just no.
He didn't say that.
Like he's indirectly saying that. He's indirectly saying that.
No. He what he's just saying though is that like CG is the future, but he's not saying like I did it better when I did the prequels. The prequels are the way that all films should be. He's just saying he perceives puppetry and all that to be old school and old fashioned, and him as a creative personally is not going to do it. But he's one of those people that's like, this should be the standard, and it's like, well, it's not, George, because honestly. It's a very small list, but one of the things I did like about The Last Jedi was seeing Puppet Yoda come back.
I did too.
Puppet Yoda, best Yoda.
Yeah. Well, it depends because Phantom Menace still didn't look good. But sorry, man. I'm sorry. I like the other.
Listen, Yoda was going through he had just gotten off of crack. Like, or no, not crack, not crack. I'm sorry. The meme is ketamine. He was addicted to ketamine. He was invaded the borders of Yugoslavia. He did.
He looked like he just came off the set of Dark Crystal.
I mean, to be fair, wasn't that also a George Lucas picture?
Or is it?
No, I'm sorry. That was Jim Henson. That was
Henson.
Jim Henson.
Jim
That was Jim Henson.
Yeah, but yeah, enough of the tirade about CGI and practical. I'm pretty sure you got the idea of that. But yeah, I think that the interdimensional beings thing would have hit hard if there was a practical puppet. At least we had a couple of shots with the practical puppet, and having like when Spalko got killed, I wish it would was a more shocking, disturbing visual. I think it would have hit people better. But anyway, once again, I loved at the end that that Indy and Marion tied the knot. I was very happy about that.
It's fun while it lasted.
It's a shame because you apparently you can't see characters progress. You can't see them change as people.
No. Can I just say something to you on top of that?
Sure.
There's a lot of things I love about the MCU. Them regressing Peter and Gamora's story is another example of this, in my opinion. It made me very upset that they broke them off.
Yeah.
Just like it does upset me also that Marion and Indy are broken off, but I'm just saying like, that's another example of like, oh, no one can be. Why is it the directors are now like doing that for? Like, we're seeing the Peter Parker effect from the comics enter movies now, and I don't like that. Like, let characters grow.
Yeah, like seriously, I do blame Infinity War for doing that. Infinity War and Endgame for doing that. But
I mean, it turns like James has said on record that he did want to kill off Gamora in Guardians 2, but then the Russos were like, "Hey, we need someone to die for Infinity War for the plot to make sense. Who are you gonna offer up as sacrifice?"
Okay, that's fine. If he wants to kill Gamora in Guardians 2, that's fine. But the fact that they kill Gamora in Infinity War and then bring back another version of her from a different timeline and they have to stick with her, that's the problem I'm having.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it retroactively undoes all the progress they made from the first two movies, and it just really just upset me.
Yeah. But, you know, what can you do? This MCU is just like a continuous assembly line of setup and, you know.
And I mean, and again, like, even with, like, Marion and Indy, like, I guarantee if they even mention it or reference, like, what happened between them, I'll be shocked. Genuinely.
Oh, why wouldn't they, though?
Because we're focused on the new movie though. Just like it's like, well, where's Willie? Oh, we don't really care, but here's a picture of her just to show that she is still around, you know, or that Indy, you know, thinks fondly of her for some weird ass reason.
Yeah, can you? I'll be look. I know people don't like Mutt, but I'll be upset if they don't address where Mutt is in the fifth movie. Just say.
I feel like they will, because it wouldn't be the first time that they had to address what's happened to a certain character, because they address some of the characters in this film, like what happened to them, basically, and they were able to tell us, like, I guess more of like a visually and through their shots what happened to certain characters. Like we know that Marcus Brody is not around anymore because of the statue, and we know that Henry Jones is not around either because of the portrait and how they showed Indiana Jones kind of like reflecting on him, I guess.
Yeah.
So I bet that they'll probably want to do something similar to that in Dial of Destiny for Mutt and especially Marion.
Isn't that Well, I mean, the side character this time around that's going around with Indy is his like god granddaughter or something.
Okay.
Yeah, which I guess that doesn't really make a lot of sense at this point.
I mean, yeah,
Currently.
you're introducing a new character that Indy used to team up with back in the day, and then his daughter is teaming up with them years later. Okay.
Goddaughter.
God,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm feeling like.
no, I'm talking about the guy that Indy's
Hold on, let
was
me.
with when he's early.
Oh,
Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. Here, yeah. Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Helena Shaw.
Yep,
Wait,
that's
Shaw.
God,
Wherever.
yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out where that name came from too.
I'm pretty sure this is a new character.
No, we've
No,
heard Shaw as a
Shaw.
last name before.
As one of the new members of the Indiana cast, is introduced as Indiana Jones' goddaughter. She is described by James Mangold as both the catalyst of the movie and a lot of trouble for the titular character. Shaw is the daughter of one of Jones' closest friends, Basil, who also plays a role in the dialogue. Oh, that's that. So, do you remember the actor that played Zola in MCU?
Yes.
Oh, oh, okay.
That's Basil Shaw. That's who's supposed to be Indy's friend, and this is his goddaughter.
So I was right. It's a new character they're establishing in this movie.
Yes. Oh God, DL.
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and just call something.
Okay.
Antonio Banderas as Ronaldo.
Uh-huh.
Ronaldo is a friend of Indy, and as soon as I saw Ronaldo is a friend of Indy, he's the one that's gonna backstab him, isn't he?
I wouldn't be shocked.
Antonio Banderas, why, puss? Why did you do it?
Yeah, because you got to have double crosses in an Indiana Jones film. I'm pretty sure he could do it.
Yeah, Toby Jones is Basil Shaw. Feel
Or
like we've heard
Phoebe
that
Waller-Bridge will do it.
name. Lord have mercy.
You never know.
Let's see though. Pass. I'm just looking at the other characters now. Oh, they say that Oliver Richards is an unknown character. Okay.
Okay.
Really? I'm seeing on Google that his name is Hawk.
Well, then there you go. I'm on Screen Rant, so
I'm guessing that this will be sort of like the next right-hand man henchman, I guess. The guy
Sure.
that Indy may have to fight. Well, maybe. Actually, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Anything else y'all want to mention before we start closing it out?
I'm really trying to think about what else there really is.
if there's anything.
Oh, there was that funny moment where Indy and Marion were going into the sand pit, and then Mutt gets a giant snake to pull them out, and then he won't grab the snake.
Oh yeah.
Stop calling it that! What do you want me to call it? Call it a rope!
He said, grab the rope! Grab the rope!
Rope! But yeah, that was a nice callback to him.
It definitely had some nice, charming moments here and there.
And again, like the whole like at first he tells the kid, he tells Mutt, do whatever your heart tells you, don't listen to anyone. And then he finds out he's his son. By the way, when we get home, you're going back to school.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was really funny. Yeah, like I think we kind of covered it all.
Oh, you know what? I guess another question I kind of had: who the hell is Colin Williams?
Huh?
Who the hell is Colin Williams?
Are you asking me?
Oh, that's Marion's guy that
I know, but like, is he like where do we know him for anything, or
nope.
It's just a random guy?
Character they establish off screen. Don't
Okay,
question what happens off screen.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Like we're gonna have that. I feel like we're gonna have that same effect with this new one too.
Yeah, probably. All right, so yeah, overall, I had a good time with this movie. I liked it. I don't understand the hate. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it's a solid Indiana Jones film. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as Raiders or Last Crusade, but I do feel like this is perfectly fine installment of the Indiana Jones franchise. People are just overreacting for no reason. Well, not completely no reason. I know there's certain choices that they made in this movie that does feel odd. Um, the heavy reliance on CGI where they don't need to. Some goofy moments here and there. The interdimensional beings plot was very underwhelming and it did kind of feel out of place. These over the top scenarios for them to have a nice visual shot did need to be there. Lucas just having his grubby little hands on the script, you really felt like it was a clashing of ideas between Lucas and Spielberg. But regardless of that, I do feel like Spielberg did his very best to make a very entertaining Indiana Jones film. I still felt like his vintage Spielberg isms are in here. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, I thought was great, and it didn't bother me that he's an older Indiana Jones, and like didn't try to put him in scenarios where we don't buy him doing the stuff that he's doing. I like Shia LaBeouf as Mutt, aka Henry Jones III. I thought he was a really good addition to the franchise. I'm happy to see Marion again, but I wish she had more to do. Same thing with John Hurt in this movie. I thought Kate Blanchett was solid as the villain. I did like the Russians. Mac was annoying. Didn't like him.
Nowhere
Um,
near really annoying though.
Yeah, no, yeah. At least it's not Willie annoying.
At least it's just not Willie.
Yeah, at least it's just not Willie. I did think the set pieces were entertaining. Um, the CGI animals I thought just was weird. Other than the ant sequence, ant sequence I thought was cool. But yeah, man, I really just don't understand why people are just bitching about this movie so much. I do think I think it's a solid film. And yeah, I mean, as I said, I think Last Crusade was a better ending to the franchise, but I still thought it did do a good job of concluding Indy's character and stuff like that with him getting married finally and being reunited with his son. I still think that was very nice way to close the franchise. But unfortunately, this is not even the true ending to Indiana Jones anymore because we'll see what Dial of Destiny does. But
One thing that I did notice, and it has to do with a lot of recent Lucasfilm stuff. The credits for the film were rolling. Not the credits, but the opening for the film is rolling and all that stuff.
yeah,
And let's see. Oh my lord! And I'm trying to say. Anyway, I think like as an executive producer. I think she was an executive producer, but Kathleen Kennedy's name. This is the first time I've seen like her name like that far back. So like it's not fake. She actually has been around in Lucasfilm for a while, and apparently she also had 2 uncredited parts to play with in Temple of Doom.
yeah, I heard about that. She was one of the dancers in the opening.
And she was an extra at the
scene.
airport.
Yeah,
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
true. I mean, yeah, Kathleen has been producing for Spielberg since E.T. So yeah,
Yeah, I get like people want to just assume that all this bad shit just magically happened because of her, and it's like she's been around since y'all's childhood. So
absolutely.
calm the hell down.
Please calm down. But well, even though I do think that Kathleen has made some questionable decisions since being president of Lucasfilm, but
I'll
that's
agree
a
with that.
discussion for another day. But yeah, overall, I will give Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull a solid B. It's pretty good. Meta.
I think we said all we need to say about this movie. B.
All right. B. All right, Ruby.
Yeah, yeah, there really isn't much more to be said here, and it's kind of it's really unfortunate because like usually we would have a lot to talk about after an Indiana Jones film, which is kind of what makes this one feel a little odd because there are some things about it that don't really make it feel special or original besides I guess the skull itself. Yeah, I mean, the characters overall were pretty average, and I guess really, that's really just the whole film in general. It's just the general consensus is it's average, but like
It's the third best
it's-
Indiana Jones movie.
yeah, it's average. At least it's not Willie.
At least
that's-
it's not
that's
Willie.
what-
At least it's
At
not
least it's not Willie.
I would have loved if that had been on the back of the that had been a marketing thing. Like critics are saying, at least it's not Willie.
Yeah.
This is not Willie.
So whichever letter you have, like I guess like above average for me, like which ones are above average and average?
It'd be a C.
above average is C plus.
Yeah, that's probably what I go with. I'd give it a C plus. It's not great. It's just it's on the borderline good tier, but it's not like unwatchable or anything. It's aight.
I mean,
Okay.
I will say that one of my there were a few lines that got me to chuckle. One of them being when Indy's with Mutt and they're in like the catacombs trying to find where Ox found the skull or whatever, and those people attack.
Oh yeah, those
And-
parkour people.
Yeah, and Indy gets a jump on him, and then that's when Mutt looks up and he goes, "You're a teacher?" And he just goes, "Part-time."
Part time.
Like it's kind of funny. I mean,
Yeah,
that is the other thing I guess we didn't talk about. That is like Indy actually, like, because of the Red Scare, Indy loses his job at the university, but by the end of the film he's actually like one of the people actually running the school now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope at least that stays the same.
We'll see. It seems like they might address that a little bit from the trailers. That's what I'm guessing. Maybe they won't, but like it does seem like they might address that a little bit. But we will see. But yeah, that is our thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Tell us, what did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to the other Indiana Jones movies? Do you consider this a part of the franchise, or do you consider this to be non-canon? Comment your thoughts down below and let us know. All right, we are done talking about all the Indian films. So the only
made
thing
it.
left, we made it.
And the next one
And
we'll be talking about is the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. Just kidding.
Dear
No,
God.
we will not talk about the Young Indiana Jones Adventures.
We don't talk about Bruno, and we don't talk about that either.
No, sorry. Like I.
As
First
I
of all-
said in The Last Crusade, you'd have thought that'd have been a great idea, especially with how that film opened. But
Yep.
man, they fumbled the ball at the snap, and it just hasn't. They were never able to recover.
No, they didn't. And does Spielberg and Lucas even consider that canon?
It's on Disney Plus.
But does it mean it's considered canon?
They have
it's
Lego
all-
Star Wars content on Disney Plus. That doesn't mean it's canon.
It's called those are called classics though. Like this is
They have the
like,
Clone Wars miniseries on there, but they don't consider that canon.
That's why again though they're calling
Yeah.
that stuff like Star Wars they had like the Star Wars vintage sticker or something on that, but like when I pull up Indiana Jones, it's sitting there right next to the films.
Well, either way, we're not talking about them. No.
He's like, that's also a series that takes
Either way, we're
longer.
not doing it.
Yes, it will take us too long to talk about all of that, and
Because-
it's not good. It's not good.
Because guys, we only have 3 weeks until Dial of Destiny now.
Yeah, and I already have a whole bunch of other stuff that I still need to do. Like, we still need to finish the Transformers movies. Rise of the Beast is coming out, and then I'm gonna start talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies before Mutant Mayhem, and Mission Impossible, and the Flash, and it's too much.
Okay, for
It's too much.
the Flash, you don't have to review anything before that. Just review the Flash.
Fair enough, but like I said, I gotta start the Ninja Turtle stuff. We gotta finish the Transformers stuff. So
We
it's
haven't
like,
even mentioned how far behind we are on Star Wars.
that too, which we probably won't be able to start until Ruby gets back from his honeymoon. So
Truth.
You know.
And we also watch Dial. We also talk about Dial of Destiny. So
oh yeah, I'm sorry guys, you won't get a Dial of Destiny review until Ruby gets back from his honeymoon because he's getting married soon.
Woo! 11 days as of today.
Heck yeah.
Mazel Tov.
So yeah, please be patient. So the next film we
Not
will
what
be
I
talking
am,
about.
but cool.
Yeah, we know. But yeah, the next
Go
film
ahead,
we
yeah,
will.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The next film we will be talking about is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So tune in for that when it comes out eventually.
Sometime
But-
in July.
Sometime in July. But if you guys enjoyed this stream, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. On the road to 500 subscribers, any type of interaction counts. Don't be a ninja watcher. Please, if you watch more than 3 of my videos, you like my content. So that means you need to like the video and subscribe. That would be awesome. But go ahead and plug your stuff. Meta.
Don't be a ninja watcher, and don't be a watcher of ninja.
Yeah,
The guy from Fortnite!
The guy from Fortnite.
Oh boy.
God.
I hate that so much.
I-
I absolutely hate it.
I love the tone that Ruby said. That's what got
But
me.
in any case, if you guys want to find me on YouTube, you guys, youtube.com/c/RubyGruby. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/RubyGruby, and you guys see my it's at RubyGruby Live on Twitter and Instagram, respectfully. And I guess I haven't really been, like I said, I haven't really been posting all that much. But again, it's wedding season, so I mean, you know, it's also the idea that like I gotta get the ideas like in my head, and I gotta have like the motivation to actually like make said videos. You know, I have ideas when it comes to like Smash Brothers and when it comes to movies and whatnot, but like I gotta put those into motivation, and I actually like have to do that stuff. But right now is not really the time for that because June
Wedding.
isn't really the best month for me right now. But they are coming eventually.
Eventually.
Just wait on it.
Right. Yep, that. Pretty much, I share the same sentiments as well. All right, go ahead, Meta.
DL just posted my the link to my YouTube channel in the chat. If you want to go ahead and follow, head over there. I do the occasional stream playing games. Right now, I'm currently going through the Jack and Daxter series over on my channel. So if you want to hit hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications, so you know when I go live. And yeah, I just like Ruby, I have bigger, more ambitious plans for my channel as well. Just got to get the equipment, and once that's done, all it is just planning.
Yep.
And if you also want to follow me on Twitter at the most meta, I have it underneath my thing here. I'm very active on Twitter. If y'all want to follow me and strike up a conversation, I'm more than happy to do so. And yeah, it's also where I give notifications and updates on what's going on with my channel. So follow me on there as well.
Cool. Yep, as I said earlier, tune in tomorrow. Me and Big B will be talking about Bumblebee, and that's the last film before Transformers Rise of the Beast comes out this weekend. And at Thursday, we will start talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, talking about the original film from 1990. So tune in for those when it comes out. But that is all we have for you Indiana Jones fans, and we will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Drop dead, comrade.